Right now, we'll be calling our first speaker, um, Dr. Mr. Greg Desilla, the COO of Melio AI, who is a highly versatile professional and adds value through his strong business, technical and solutions focus. He enjoys combining data and machine language and technology in ways that deliver tangible benefits to his clients and creates a frictionless experience. Mr. Greg is interested in finance, in logistics, insurance, oil and gas, including healthcare. And he'll be speaking now on the topic starting and growing your business leveraging AI. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Greg Desilla, sir, you're up, sir.
Great. Yes, thanks, Chief, for the introduction. Nice to meet everybody, or virtually to be part of this conference. It's a real honor, and on behalf of Melio AI, thanks for having us today. Today, I'll be talking about some of the experiences we've had around helping companies to start and grow using AI as the driving force behind their business. And we'll chat a bit about some of the challenges that come with that as well. So my name is Greg. I'm the COO and the AI lead at Melio AI. We are based in Johannesburg in South Africa. I'm just going to share my screen. Right, so that should be coming through now for everybody. Great. Cool. So yeah, you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I've got a QR code. Hopefully that scans nicely. If you're on your computer, you can just scan that through and you should be able to see that. Cool. So yeah, so the problem that many of today's AI solutions are quite difficult for small and medium businesses to adopt, to integrate into their processes, and to realize value from those. Today, we're going to explore how AI companies or how AI can help companies with these challenges, but also unpack some of those challenges in more detail. So what is AI? To truly understand what AI is, let's have a look at how programming has evolved over time. AI isn't just a single leap forward. It's a progression of how we approach problem solving with technology. So if we look at traditional software programming, this is really how everything began. It's a very straightforward rule-based system. You take data, you take a program, which is really just a set of instructions that you've written, and you feed that into a computer. The computer processes this and it gives you an output. It's very predictable. It works well for problems with very clearly defined rules like accounting calculations or maybe tracking of inventory. But the limitations are also clear. The program can only handle scenarios that you very explicitly code. If something changes, then the whole thing breaks. Then came along machine learning. And machine learning was quite a paradigm shift because instead of giving the computer the program and the rules, you give it the data and you give it the output that you expect it to achieve based on historical information. And the computer itself then takes the data and the output to learn the rules or the program. So now you're programming the data from experiential learning in the machine learning solution. Machine learning is very powerful for tasks like image recognition and fraud detection, where often it's just too complex to build rules yourself and to manage those rules. So we look to systems to help us to do that. And now, over the last couple of years, there's been a massive acceleration in generative AI. And this is, again, another leap forward. Generative AI now takes the data, but instead of the output, it takes a set of instructions or prompts, essentially what you're trying to do, and produces a new generated output. So it's not just a prediction or a classification that you would get in machine learning. It's entirely new content. It's new text, it's new images, it can be code, even videos nowadays, and more will come with that. If you think about tools like ChatGPT or DALL-E, instead of just identifying cats in pictures like we used to do, now generative AI can create a brand new image of a cat that has never existed before. So it's not just about learning from patterns, it's creating new possibilities on those patterns. So if we think about what AI really is, to summarize, it's about machines that can help us make smarter, data-driven decisions by analyzing vast amounts of information far faster than a human ever could. It's about taking over the mundane, repetitive tasks that consume our time, like processing invoices, responding to customer queries, and turning all of this into actionable insights, often in real time. And to extend that now with generative AI, it goes beyond just making things better and faster. It goes now towards creating new designs, new content, and new ideas. But we have to still see that AI is only as effective as the problem that it's been applied to. Just like the saying, if you have a golden hammer, everything looks like a nail. So basically, this means that without understanding the problem, even the best tools won't deliver the results that you need. And in today's economical climate, most businesses are in a survival mode, especially small businesses. There's constant pressure to deliver revenue and show growth. And we see that there are typically three broad categories that businesses fall into that impact their ability to grow. The first is high cost. Sure, ChatGPT is $20 for consumers to start using. But once you switch to an API and you need a bit of scale, the cost starts to skyrocket. OpenAI actually has probably double their cost than what their revenue is at the moment. And this is just not possible for small businesses to stomach or compete with. The second one is manual processes. Most businesses start using Microsoft Excel. I think many businesses today, small businesses, run entirely on Excel. But this just becomes an integration nightmare. There's lots of human hours that you need to process and to help to automate the processes that you have. And often we see that not just Excel, just all the paper that still exists in many businesses is a manual process that creates a huge amount of bottlenecks. And the third one is limited resources, limited access to data, to AI and cloud skills, as well as the funding that can help businesses build really scalable solutions. So it's about the investment that goes into business, but the capabilities that exist in the business to be able to build the solutions that can achieve the visions that you have. And on top of all of that, AI is still a very expensive avenue to follow to help your businesses grow. Even today, it still takes 11 people, $95,000 to deploy and maintain just one machine learning model. What's worse is that 85% of these projects still fail to deliver a positive outcome. So you spend all of this money, you get a team together that comprises of software engineers, cloud engineers, data scientists, AI engineers to try and make this a reality, but there's still no certainty on the outcome that you'll achieve by implementing the AI solution. And this just makes it really difficult for small companies to adopt AI. Most companies just don't have the capital to run these types of experiments without having some form of certainty on the outcome that you're trying to achieve. And also, AI can go wrong. We know that it's very powerful, but it's not a silver bullet. It's still a tool, and just like any tool, it can fail if it's been misused, if it's been poorly trained, or just misunderstood. I'm not sure if any of you have seen this, but last week, a student was doing a research article using Google's Gemini, and just suddenly, out of the blue, the AI chatbot ended in a very strange and threatening message. It said, this is for you, human, you and only you. You are not special, you are not important, and you are not needed. And it just carries on getting a bit deeper until, it ends with, please die, please. And this is from, one of the cutting edge AI chatbots and agents that exist today. And even with all the guardrails that Google have in place, these things can still slip through, and it really doesn't help us to build trust in what these AI systems can do for us when these things can slip through. So yeah, Google are currently investigating how this happened and how it slipped through their guardrails. But yeah, it is quite a scary thought, and very recent as well. I've got a few other examples. McDonald's, there was, well, the article itself was that they ended their drive-through experiment using AI. So that was cancelled in June this year. And the main reason for it was it actually ended up frustrating customers. You had customers going through an AI automated drive-through process, and the AI couldn't understand a lot of the orders. And in one example, the AI just kept adding chicken nuggets to the order, and eventually the order frustrated the customer. It was sitting on, I think, 260 chicken nuggets, and they just couldn't get around that. So that was another failure from an AI solution, also quite recently. Another one where ChatGPT in 2023 was used by an attorney to help summarize and consolidate research across a number of different legal cases and articles. And I think the important part here is that generative AI is very powerful, but with hallucination can be very unreliable as well. And the attorney said that it was the first time that he had used ChatGPT as a legal research tool, and he wasn't aware of the possibility that it can actually create content that was factually incorrect. So that was another interesting example as well. The third one, so during the COVID times, a lot of organizations wanted to apply machine learning algorithms, maybe many of you in the audience, to help hospitals to diagnose and triage patients faster. But when they did research afterwards, the UK's Turing Institute, they found that these predictive tools made little to no difference. And maybe it was because COVID wasn't very predictable. It was quite an unusual outbreak, first we've seen. But it could also have been how the tools were trained and tested. And that could be things like mislabeled data or using data from the unknown or the wrong sources. And then the last one that I wanted to share with you, this goes back quite a bit. I'm not sure if many of you remember this, but in 2016, Microsoft released their Twitter or X AI chatbot, and it was actually trained based on the interactions that it had through the Twitter platform. And within 16 hours, that chatbot had posted more than 95,000 tweets. And those tweets, slowly but surely, were being directed from, people had some very adverse ideas. And that chatbot ended up being very racist and starting to talk just like the Google Gemini chatbot did, taking over the world and killing all humankind. So Microsoft had to pull the plug on that quite quickly as well. So I think maybe this was really the start of where responsible AI governance, the concept of guardrails for many of these AI agents and chatbots started to come into play. But even those aren't a sure thing, if we look at the example from Google earlier. So why then care about AI? In today's fast-moving world, businesses that can adapt and innovate quickly are usually the ones that thrive. So this quote is from Klaus Schwab. It's not a new quote, but I think when applied to AI, it really captures the urgency and opportunity that AI brings. And really what it's trying to say is that it's not about being the biggest or the most established. It's about being the fastest and the most adaptive business. Large enterprises, banks, retail giants today are quite fearful of AI. And it's mostly because AI now has the capability of leveling the playing field. Smaller businesses can now become more competitive and at scale. They're able to leverage AI to deliver value faster for their customers, discover new opportunities and products in markets that enterprises were always disregarded, never actually considered entering before. Companies in Africa can now compete on a global scale and at a fraction of the cost that enterprises are still incurring today with their infrastructure. So that then raises the question, not whether to adopt AI or not, but how best to integrate it into your business strategy effectively. But how can businesses get started when AI is often expensive and it has this very high failure rate that we've seen? So firstly, if we could offer some guidance from our side and what we've seen working across enterprise and small businesses at Melio, is identify a very specific problem that AI can solve. Ask yourself, is this a real problem? And can you quantify the pain that it causes? For example, think about repetitive tasks or maybe bottlenecks in your current processes, manual work that's slowing your team down, or reoccurring customer complaints that you keep seeing. The goal is to focus on a real problem that has a clear benefit. Yeah, so once you've identified the problem, then it's decide how you want to approach the solution. And this can be something that is part of the culture of your organization. You may want to always build something first, but you may also consider buying a solution or a blend of the two. So when you're deciding, think about that sort of archetype. Are you a builder or an adopter? And if you are going to build, are you going to use open source, or what other tools are you going to use that can help you? As part of that, think about the IP. If you're buying something, how is your IP that you're creating in your business going to be protected? Obviously, the more you do yourself, that will impact the timelines that it takes, the scope of what you can do, and the cost of delivering it. Think about what are your current team's capabilities. Do you have the necessary skills, or do you have to hire people in? Or can you work with a close partner to help you achieve your goals? The third part that I wanted to share was whichever approach you do decide, always start small, apply agile thinking, and get to that solution as fast as you can so you can test it with real users, the real end users of the solution. What you're looking for is continuous feedback from those users. Keep these projects small and focused, and have very clear, well-defined metrics and success criteria that you can measure against it. As soon as you validate your results against these success criteria, then you can look at starting to scale the solution across your business or with the customers or customer segments that you have. But always start small. It's not about transforming everything overnight with AI. You can't just do AI and tomorrow your company organization is completely transformed. It's more about solving meaningful problems, making smart choices, building confidence as you go, and using AI as a tool to help you to get there. So I said start small, improve value. And this is actually the biggest challenges that most companies face today. Gartner actually, a Gartner research article with 632 leaders involved in AI, those respondents said that the top barrier for implementing AI in their organization is estimating and demonstrating AI value. Now, for us at Melio, we think this is crazy, but it does actually make sense. And for us, the easiest way to demonstrate value is to deliver it in small, manageable chunks. That's easy for the organization, especially those stakeholders that you have that still not quite sure what AI is, and you've got to educate them as part of that process. So you can help them to understand it in small chunks. You can link those solutions to the business outcomes and business measures. And those are always going to be things like, how much does it reduce my cost? How much extra revenue are we going to get from this Are we going to create new revenue streams? And do we have enhanced efficiencies in our process? Does it take us 50% less time to respond to a customer complaint, or are we reducing our customer complaints dramatically as a result of the solution? Yeah, so embracing AI and also generative AI is not just a technology shift, but it's also about a mindset change and a shift in the culture of the business holistically. If the business isn't willing to embrace the possibility of AI, then you're going to need to do more work finding AI champions in your business and using the outcomes of these small pilot initiatives to help drive that adoption more broadly across the business. And it does depend on the size of your organization. I think in the audience, we probably have quite a wide range of small, medium, and large enterprises attending, and different decision-making roles within those organizations. So I wanted to just share a couple of examples, real-world projects that we've been involved in, and it kind of tries to make some of what I've said a little bit more real. The first one that I wanted to share with you today is an AI agent that we've built for women's mental and physical wellness. So this innovative startup that we worked with, they want to help women identify mental health and hormonal conditions by providing a personalized AI-driven service. For them, often these conditions remain undiagnosed for women, affecting their livelihood, and they believe that the approach that they've taken is unique because it helps create action and help women to do something about it. So the solution that we provided for this was an AI chatbot, and it would be able to access the customer's personal information. So this would be answering a set of survey questions that they have to help us to understand a little bit more about where they are, where they're from, some of their medical background. They would also have a lab result that is part of the service offering from the startup that helps to identify hormonal imbalances in quite a comprehensive way. And we would use this information to create a very rich, contextually relevant conversation with the user. And this service, which is currently in development, will be available 24 hours a day for women to access. For us, it's revolutionary in that the AI agent would be able to combine all of this data from various sources. So this is really the agentic framework that a lot of companies are looking at incorporating into their businesses today, and help to establish like a really nice, strong support structure for women that need this help. So that's one project that we're busy working on with one of our partners. Very interesting piece of work. The second one that we are looking at, and I think this is quite pervasive across most businesses in South Africa, it's around getting past a lot of the manual document processing and paper that we have in our process. And how do we streamline and automate that more? So we actually worked with an insurance provider. They provide insurance for many, many different types of insurance products. But because we started with a very focused, small, manageable piece of work, we looked at their medical malpractice insurance. So this is specifically for doctors, where they need to do an insurance. They need to have insurance underwritten for their medical malpractice in case something goes wrong, which all doctors need when they're seeing their patients. So the challenge is for the solution was that a lot of these forms, doctors, I'm not sure what it's like in Nigeria, but most of the doctors still prefer writing the diagnoses, and any forms that they're filling out is all handwritten. And that presents a challenge to digitize and automate this process. So what we helped them to do was we put together an intelligent document processing solution that helped this insurance provider save their administration time by almost half, helping them to increase the capability of generating the quotes for the doctors and seeing through the end-to-end process of underwriting those doctors based on those quotes. So now we've proven the model in an area of the business for medical malpractice. We can now apply that to all the other streams of products that they have, allowing them to scale and process many more applications in parallel, helping to streamline their whole operation. The solution would really take each document and analyze it based on what we would expect a doctor to complete. And what was interesting about this solution is that we based it on a schema, really. And that schema helped us to identify certain business rules that also needed to be in place. So a doctor that is a general surgeon or an obstetrician, they would need to fill in different parts of the form based on what their specialization was. And we could add additional rules that would be used in the document processing to already validate whether the form was completed correctly, over and above the challenge of detecting the handwriting itself from those doctors. And so for our MVP, we had over 80% accuracy on the handwritten forms. But any digital forms that were captured, that usually had 95% or higher accuracy. And combined, these two processes really helped us to enable this company to scale their document processing and ultimately their business process to support the doctors and increase their revenue. Yeah, those are the benefits that we saw in that piece of work. And the last one that I wanted to share with you is more traditional, I think, machine learning type problem. A client of ours in the mining industry were having a number of safety incidents in one of their manufacturing plants. So this was a manufacturing company that served the mining industry. And they produce a lot of very sensitive chemical products used in mining operations. So every time they had a safety incident in their manufacturing process, it would cost millions of rands in lost productivity. But more importantly, it was impacting the safety of their workforce. So they came to us and they wanted to understand if AI could be used to help them to reduce or prevent these types of incidents, because they were really starting to increase. So what we did was we worked with them to leverage their existing camera feed network that was put in place across each of the different manufacturing processes of the plant, along with a computer vision algorithm that we used. And a lot of this, we are an AWS advanced partner, so we used a lot of the AWS services for this, but you can also use many of the other cloud providers. And if you need to build custom solutions on top of that, it would also work really well for this. But to get to that proof of value, we built an initial MVP that looked at two parts of their plant. One was, are workers themselves actually following the right safety procedures when they handle the sensitive chemicals? And the second part was, are the machines themselves operating as we expect them to? Do they have maybe, some of the sensitive substance, which is called lead azide? It's very flammable. A small spark or a small impact or pressure change can actually initiate this substance. So we're looking at, was some of that actually spilling into the machinery? And because of the movement of the machinery, that could cause a negative event from occurring. So our POC was twofold. Understand from the workforce if they're doing what they're meant to do, and then the machines themselves. And what we found was that we were able to identify very high risk incidents, and we've proven the model with the business, and now we're looking at how we scale that across their existing plant and their regional plants that they have across the country, and from there we can look at their global presence as well. And it all is based off the initial POC that helps to define the value and the blueprint for scale. And really the goal of this is to save millions of rands and lives to prevent and reduce the number of these events from happening. So we've had the privilege being an AI consulting company. We've been around since 2019, and we've worked a lot with enterprises in South Africa and abroad. We've worked with some other companies in Africa and in the Middle East. We've also worked with a number of small businesses. And what I want to share with you is some of the learnings that we've had that maybe will resonate well with you, depending on whether you're an AI services company or you're building AI products and you're engaging with these different customers. Try to understand the position that they're in and how you actually can negotiate and work with enterprises and small businesses. And it's really quite different. So enterprises, we see they typically value stability, long-term partnerships, while small businesses normally look at prioritizing speed, affordability, and simplicity. So the first point that I wanted to share is around decision-making. When working with enterprises, it's often multi-stakeholder, multi-department, it's very slow. And you find that you go through 3-4 months engaging with an enterprise, and then one of the key roles changes. The person resigns or moves to another area of the business, and you have to restart the whole process. And that can make the cycles of working with enterprises very long and cumbersome. In South Africa, I think it's between 6 and 9 months, the sales cycle with an enterprise. On the other side, working with small and medium businesses is usually faster, mostly because the decision making is limited to 1 or 2 key decision makers in the organization. From a value point of view, enterprises often they perceive value with the cost of delivering a solution. So a higher cost is often perceived to be higher value, whereas a small business is much more price sensitive. The value, however, needs to be obvious and affordable for their business. From a focus point of view, enterprises look at long-term stability, security, governance, and integration. Whereas a small business, they're looking at immediate outcomes. How does this save me time? How does this save me money? Enterprises typically would require any solutions that you provide to have deep compatibility, whereas small businesses are more accepting of plug and play, but they want the customization. And if it is standalone solutions, depending on the size of the organization, that can also be accepted as well. In terms of support, enterprises typically prefer long-term partnerships. They want very well-defined SLAs with companies that they work with, whereas small businesses expect some level of support and service, but they like to do it themselves as well. So a lot of self-service capabilities are preferred for small business. And then just a few caveats. An enterprise, at least the ones that we've worked with, if you look at the banks in South Africa, many of the skills do exist. It's often spread across multiple departments. You've got data science and AI teams in each department of a bank. So they often want to build it themselves. And that may be the right choice for them, but that also comes with its own challenges as well. And what we see at an enterprise level is most enterprises want to learn from others. So they're not usually first. They're normally risk averse, and they normally like to follow. Whereas a small business, they have limited resources and expertise, so they rely on partners and software vendors to deliver solutions. They focus on shorter term return on investment, and they're a lot more risk tolerant. But they'll very quickly say no if the value isn't clear for them. And these are some of the learnings that I really wanted to share with you working with these organizations. And hopefully that can add some value in the way that you work with them as well. But really what this has helped us to really understand is that the SMB market is really being completely overlooked. On the one hand, many enterprises in finance, retail, and other industries, they've got, these massive data science teams that they can absorb the cost of the infrastructure, the people that need to deploy custom solutions and to deploy those in the organizations. So enterprise like these very large, highly capable solutions that come with the governance and compliance, but they can afford to spend money on that. Whereas on the other side, if we look at the consumers, they're going to pay nothing or maybe $20 to get a ChatGPT premium subscription, and they can already start getting value from that. And most SaaS solutions are geared towards mass scale and adoption, which is great for the B2C market. But for everyone in between, if I want to add an AI solution into my current business operation as a small business, the solutions are normally too cumbersome. It's too much geared to the enterprise, or they're not existent at all. The small businesses, from where we're seeing, are looking for customizable, affordable solutions that are just generally missing from the market. So what we've done at Melio is imagine we've got a platform that helps us to try and target the small business market. And this is really something that we want to share with you, because the approach really takes all of our learnings together and helps us to apply it into the work that we do. So imagine Amanda, she's a data analyst working at a company. It might be one of the banks or another smaller company. And instead of building out a lot of features and data science solutions herself, she comes onto Highwind, which is our platform for AI as a service. She subscribes to a financial document verification solution, and she now has very quickly the ability to create a more seamless experience for her B2B customers. Imagine Highwind is built from Lego pieces. Amanda's solution uses 3 parts. It might be extracting data from a bank statement, pulling data from invoices, and then matching invoices to bank statements, and processing all of this using a document processing engine. With just a few clever solutions, we can cover quite a wide range of possibilities. And we see it as helping focus on specific problems, which is then solved by a very specific solution, which we call a Lego block. And those solutions come together to solve a broader business process problem, which could be automating your KYC process. It could be managing customer support with your customers, or many other things like product recommendations and things that small businesses need that are often not available to them without spending the amount of money that an enterprise would have access to. The benefits is really about giving small business the fastest route to tap into enterprise-grade AI capabilities, making it cheap to start, especially for those that don't have an AI team, and to then have an ability to minimize the amount of money a small business needs to spend up front. But as their business grows, have a convenient way to scale the services based on the growth of their business. So we call this Highwind. This is our platform. We are looking at launching this in the next couple of months. And if you are interested, we'd love your feedback, and especially in ways that we can work together to bring AI solutions to Africa and to small businesses. If you've got a solution in mind, please scan the QR code. You'll follow a couple of prompts. Give us some ideas around what are the challenges and the types of solutions that in Nigeria and the different companies that you're working with are going through. And let's work together. Highwind is a marketplace. It's about helping to enable providers of AI to feed into a marketplace that small businesses and customers can come to and very easily be able to start using their AI solutions. And that means solving their biggest problems very quickly and getting the value from that faster than ever. And that's the vision that we have at Melio. And we'd love to work with some of you to make this a reality. So just to close, I think I'm just on time. If I just want to summarize what we've gone through, really, focus on the right problems to solve, focus on real pain points, the ones that you can create a measurable impact in your organization or in your community. Things that are inefficient, there's bottlenecks, repetitive tasks, things like that. And then start small with very specific manageable goals. Decide whether, as an individual or company, are you a builder or a buyer? And evaluate, whether the solutions that are available would meet your needs. Platforms like Highwind, we want that to be easier. We want to make it easier for everyone to be able to find a solution, test it, and to be able to integrate it very easily in a way that scales with the business. The third recommendation is to work with a trusted partner. You don't have to go it alone. Collaborate with experts that understand your needs and that can help guide you. Work with AI companies within Nigeria or within Africa that have a better understanding of how to take a problem and to solve it with the right tool, whether it's AI or another process. We are very well aligned to the AWS ecosystem. So we are an AWS Advanced partner, and there are many programs that AWS offer that can help to really jumpstart a business that's looking to leverage AI and technology to drive their operations. So get in touch with your AWS representatives, and even Google, Microsoft. They often have very, very great programs that can help you to accelerate your business. And then, like the examples that I shared, start small, test it. Pilot projects are very important to validate the outcome you're trying to achieve, build confidence with business, and then help you to deliver those quick wins that can help you to then scale the solution more broadly across your organization. And then lastly, make AI work for your business. It's still a tool. It's not a magic fix to every problem. It has to still depend on having clear goals, good data, and a thoughtful implementation. Human oversight and accountability should still be there throughout the process. You can't just push it aside, push it onto a partner without being deeply involved in the process as well. So yeah, I think just in closing, thank you. With the right tools, a trusted partner, and a thoughtful approach, we believe that AI really can unlock transformative value for your organization. But the journey starts small. The potential there for growth is limitless. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That was truly inspiring. I learned so much. I kept on learning and learning and learning, and I'm sure it's the same for everyone here. So we'll go right to the questions section. I have a few questions here, and I will just ask them, sir, and you just provide the answers to them. So the first question, the person is asking, if AI is very powerful and also dangerous sometimes, how then can a small business be able to manage AI for effective business performance as an early founder? So that's the question. That's our first question for today.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully part of the presentation did cover that. So really from our side, it's about having a small, well-defined initiative that you clearly understand the value that the AI solution will provide, and to go and test it. Go and measure that value. Go and understand where the limitations are. Once you've got that, then you're building confidence to be able to scale it into the organization. And like I said before, you don't have to go and build this yourself. You can use tools and services that are already available to test that thinking. And we've seen a lot of success doing that, working with a lot of startups. We're a startup ourselves, so a lot of what we build, in fact, the platform that I shared, we primarily built it for ourselves as a starting point so that we can help smaller companies get to the value faster. Hope that
All right.
answers your question.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. The next question: as an AI consultant, how do I maximize AI for the beauty industry, especially in Africa, where there is still an acceptance struggle with AI? How do I maximize AI for the beauty industry? That's the question.
Did you say the beauty industry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I won't be able to speak from experience working in the beauty industry. I think it is important to have domain knowledge. So the first thing is to understand where the challenges are in the industry and to work with businesses or stakeholders, in the business that understand where those pain points are. Once you've understood those pain points, then you can look at what types of solutions can help to solve those pain points. And then you can go through a similar exercise. Start small, show that the AI solution can solve that problem, and then apply it further. But if you're referring to bringing an AI solution to that's been trained on like global data and it's not very localized, then you may want to work with a partner and look at how can you maybe take what's already been built. If especially if it's in the beauty industry, you may have a lot of image recognition and image generating type solutions, um, and to then fine tune your solution based on your own customer data and the outputs that you're trying to achieve for those customers.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I have a question. My question is: you mentioned while beginning of a few dangers of AI, and is there anything such as giving the AI too much information for your business? And if there's something like that, how then do we maximize AI while protecting ourselves?
Yeah, so when we work with a lot of companies, the question of the data that the AI solution, let's say it's a chatbot, the data that the AI has access to, is it for the purpose that we're trying to achieve in the business opportunity that we're trying to solve for? And making sure that we have the controls around that. And I know that many of the open sort of GPT type solutions at the moment, by default, I don't think they protect your personal information. But there are ways that you can get around that. You can start hosting your own open source LLMs or models using like Facebook's Llama that you host on your own infrastructure, your own cloud account, and the data that is used is managed in your own account as well. And how that data is processed and then saved afterwards is also all managed in your account. And now you can start creating a secure perimeter for how the AI needs to operate and the type of information you make available to it.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. And the last question:
Sure.
what are some of the best AI tools that a startup can use to boost business performance? What are the best tools to boost a startup's business performance? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, I think it depends on the level of performance or productivity you're looking for. So, the co-pilots that are coming out now from Microsoft and if your business is using a lot of Microsoft products, then using Microsoft's Copilot services will help to streamline many of those like documentation and like workflow solutions at that level. If you're looking for individual productivity, I use ChatGPT every day. I find that just in my own personal capacity, it boosts my productivity by at least 80%. And that helps me to deliver better. From a technical point of view, we make use of AWS services. So you can build them yourself, or you can leverage some of the services already available. So things like Amazon Textract can help you to process documents faster than what you would be doing manually. We use, from a development point of view, if you are a software developer, I highly recommend Cursor. It's a development environment with AI built in from the beginning. And that has been highly successful in our organization. We're primarily an engineering team. And I see that Cursor is actually one of the leading AI first software engineering tools that you can use. And I'd highly recommend that. And then we use a lot of open source. One of the challenges we've had, especially with chatbots, is to understand how well they're performing. And how do you evaluate how well an LLM is actually performing for your business? And we use a lot of the LangChain tools to do that. And there's a tool called LangFuse that helps to evaluate and monitor all of the interactions that your chatbot's having with your users, as well as your sort of your training data, to understand from a baseline point of view, is your chatbot doing better or worse as you improve it over time? And that's a really great way. When we started in last year, a lot of the evaluation is very manual, and that's actually extremely time consuming, and it's probably not as good as well, it wasn't as good as using the new processes that we have now. So it really depends on the level that you're looking for those productivity boosts. But often today you can find individual solutions for most of the problems that you have. If you don't, come and chat to us, and we can see how we can work together.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the value that you have just made available to us. When you were speaking, I was talking to my friend and I was telling him that most of what we were hammering on was like that usual statement of AI is going to take your job, AI is going to take your job. But you're just telling us today that if we learn how to use these tools and maximize it, there's no way AI is going to take our job. So thank you so much, sir.